Man, William must be so tired after everything that has happened to him. He's probably in his room sleeping right now. I guess being possessed by Xana must take a lot out of you, but what do I know? What's going on, everyone? Chris here from Carlton Gaming. Welcome back to more Code Lyoko Quest for Infinity. Where we last left off, not only we saved William from being possessed by Xana, but we destroyed the magma worm and basically destroyed the supercalculator / computer, depending what version you're in, and we just saved the whole dang universe. Who wants French toast? Okay, no. In all seriousness, okay. What is it with me making these references? I don't know. There's something about children's cartoons. I feel weird saying that. Anyways, let's not dwell on that. This time, I feel like we should go back to the factory, get all the goodie cards. But before I do that, I want to go over a little bit of something. First is the contest hall. Now I am going to show, it's really nothing. Sorry for stumbling on my words, but it's really nothing, but I wanted to go over these as much as I can. And not right now, but I will make a mention of these later on in the video. But if you want to go take a closer look at it, this is cool. But if you're wondering why this A button is there, it's because there's no other way to scroll through it in full screen mode. You have to go out, go to the next one, and then do that. But I gotta say, I really appreciate these artists. We really should give these artists credit, because even though these are rejected monsters, they look really cool though. And shout out to Sarah Cornejo. I hope I'm saying that right. Probably not. But let's head out. And I not only want to get the goodie cards, as I've said before, but I want to make a mentions of something and just show off little things. First off, I want to show off other things that are in the Code Lyoko universe. Starting off, Code Lyoko for the Nintendo DS. This is kind of the same thing as Quest for Infinity, except it goes in the alternate storylines of Seasons 1 and 2. I kind of like this one. You get to interact a lot more in the real world, complete a lot of tasks. You get to see more of the story, I think. I feel it's a little more interactive than Quest for Infinity. And then you get to Lyoko, and wow. For a Nintendo DS game, this actually looks really cool. You have the holo map on the touchscreen. You get to see the life points, like the actual life points instead of a life bar. And the graphics actually look really great. Again, for a Nintendo DS game, this was very early in its prime, and it might not be as great as other games on the DS, or heck, even games today, which really goes without saying, but still, I actually think it looks really good. And unlike Quest for Infinity, this kind of plays more into the show than Quest for Infinity did. While they did show a little bit of episode relations to Season 4, this one is really close to the show. Now, even though you already go through Seasons 1 and 2 in an alternate storyline, there's actually a cool little tidbit, I think. Just like in Quest for Infinity, they would go each by chapters or even like episodes. And some of the chapters are similar to the episodes you see on the show. However, they actually added an extra chapter, which is supposed to be a sneak peek of the first episode in Season 3. So essentially, you could have played that chapter early, way before the episode ever got to be released. Notice that I said could've. The reason that I say that is because the first episode of Season 3 premiered in the US October 4th, 2006 on Cartoon Network. Yet, the game released in the US was May 15th, 2007. And if that wasn't confusing enough, wait till you get a load of this. 3 days after the game was released in America, they released the first episode of Season 4. I had a feeling they were probably trying to release this game early, but unfortunately there were some complications maybe with Nintendo, and it just had to be released way later than it was expected. But the thought was still nice, and I still liked the game, even though it did have its complications. Next up is Code Lyoko Fall of Xana. This is another one that's based off of Season 4. And to be honest, I kind of find this one the weakest of the bunch. The reason I say that is, for one, the story is pretty short. While there is a lot of more dialogue, because, it's a text-heavy game, the dialogue that you talk to within the schoolyard, there are a lot of the same dialogue that you hear in Quest for Infinity. The only difference is they're not voice acted. However, when they go to the factory, there's different dialogue. But on Lyoko, it's weird. Like, the animation in the gameplay is really awkward. You have this, chibi sprites that you move around, and sure, you get to hit switches, but the gameplay is very linear, at least to me. And let's talk about the combat. The combat you see here is a timed turn-based RPG, which is similar to a lot of early Final Fantasy games and the most popular Chrono Trigger. While I do like this style, and believe me, I really do like this battle style, my problem with it is it doesn't feel like a Code Lyoko game. When I think of Code Lyoko, I think of for example, the original for the DS or even Quest for Infinity. You get to shoot around, move around. It makes me feel like I'm on Lyoko. Not a turn-based RPG. I don't know. I find this one of the weaker of the bunch. I really wish there could have been a better battle system, but I understand DS limitations. But yeah, I do like this battle system, but I don't think it works with this specific franchise. And for those of you who are asking if I'm ever going to do Let's Plays on these, thing is, there are two things. One, I don't want to do another Lyoko game after I've already did one, just because I don't want it to be too stuck together and I just don't want to get bored by it. Plus, I want to expand my horizons with other games. I just want to be very clear, on this specific channel, I want to explore other games, but just know I am a Lyoko fan through and through. Two, I don't have the capability to record DS versions. Thing is, there's a very low percentage of DS capture software and capture cards as well, so I am not able to do these. So for those of you who are asking, I don't think it's going to happen unless if there's some miracle that might happen, but till then, I'm not going to do them. Anyways, enough of those little Easter eggs. Let's head over to the factory and try to get all those goodie cards. But before I do that, you can see that apparently Jeremy was so tired that he's probably in his room crashing right now. We'll go check on him when we go to his room. It's best not to wake him up. But before I do that, I want to head into the scanner. Now, I'm not going to go and buy any upgrades. I've only done it for the main story, so I'm happy with what I got. But there is little secrets and Easter eggs in this specific game that I want to show off. Starting off with the holo map. There is actually a cool little visual that you wouldn't have known unless if you looked really, really close. With that, I would like to switch to a different file. Don't worry, I didn't lose anything. We're fine. We're good. But I feel like this alternate file would give me a chance to show this off. With the power of my editing magic, a la Cabelpwa! Sorry, I couldn't resist. But yes, you can actually see Jeremy's face on the other side of the holo map. It's really cool. I actually didn't know about this detail until a year ago? It's really nice. Unfortunately, there's no animation of Jeremy on this. It's just a still image, but still, you actually wouldn't have known it unless if you look really, really close. But I'm glad I got to help you out with my editing magic. Now, on to some other things. First, the loading screens. I know I said it before that I didn't want to show off the loading screens because I felt like it would take the videos a little too much time because the loading screens are a little long. But I really felt bad I didn't get to show them off a lot of the time because, I did put them in the end slate of the videos, of course, which is nice, but these designs really are really good. And there are some designs I wasn't able to show off, like when you go into the Naps kits to do translations to battle the boss, you get these cool designs. It's really, really cool, especially on the Volcano replica. When you're fighting as Odd and Aelita, you get to see a pose of William almost about to be defeated. That one was one of my favorites, so I really felt bad I didn't get to put that on, but I'm happy how it all turned out. And speaking of which, these loading screens would only come around the time of the main story. There's, simple stuff like when Odd was going by himself, you would see a loading screen of him because we were on that level. There is one with Aelita, Yumi, and Odd when we were going to the forest sector when Auric was in the hospital to save his dad. It's really cool how they all tied into the story, so I kind of like those. Now, I don't mean to shuffle around topics too much, but I want to go back on the subject of William because, well, the episode that you saw in the finale of me fighting William, that was actually my second attempt this playthrough. If you want to know my first attempt, here it is. And since Ori cannot attack in the air, I'm going to attack with Yumi. After you do as much damage as him in the air, he will go back down on What? That was an easy battle! I feel like I shouldn't do this episode. That was dumb. No, I can't do that. No, stop. Yeah, you could see why I had to start that whole battle over because, believe it or not, when that battle started, it literally took 40 seconds before that happened. So, yeah, now you know why I had to start over. Anyways, there's something really important I wanted to mention about this series, but I haven't gotten a chance to say it through this whole thing because we had to save the world and such. So, here it is. Why is Jeremy's voice coming out of Ulrich's mouth?
Yeah, that sounds good. What do you think?
That's a good question. I like to know what these developers were thinking because aside from the whole supercalculator and supercomputer difference, they apparently forgot to, 1, filter the voice to make it sound like Jeremy is coming from the laboratory to Lyoko. 2, they apparently didn't know that a guy with blonde hair would have that voice would go to a guy with brown hair. Okay, I know that was a little harsh, but I'm sorry. I had to get that one out. Anyways, let's actually get to the stuff that's really important. Right, okay. There is also some other things, just like the holo map, that you wouldn't have known unless if you looked really, really close. Let's start with the digital sea. The digital sea has this really cool watery effect that does this all the time. However, whenever you go into a cutscene or even go to a skill tutorial and then come out of it, that effect actually stays still. It doesn't do that effect that crumples in and crumbles out. It doesn't do that kind of watery effect. There are also other places where that effect can occur. One of them is on Odd's shield out of all places, and then the other ones are on the shield tarantulas. There are differences between those where you would go into a cutscene or skill tutorial and it would not show off that effect anymore. However, it only lasts for a little bit of a time. I thought for some reason it would last through the whole level, but I was actually wrong because this happened when we were in the ice sector, when we got Aelita's flight, and that effect, if you look really closely here, it only wore off right after we started climbing with Odd. Then again, that battle with the metal insect and metal crab did take a while, but I digress. At first, I also thought that the Volcanoids with the fire shield would also have that same effect, but I was wrong. They do not have that. And speaking of Volcanoids, oh boy, do I have a surprise for you. If you look at Aelita's petrification upgrades menu, you can see that it affects certain monsters except Volcanoids. However, on my first or second playthrough, I was trying to get this goodie card in the forest replica where Aelita and Odd and Yumi use translation, and I was with Aelita. This was the after game. I tried to freeze this creeper so I can use him to get to the goodie card that was above him. And I was trying to also avoid the Volcanoid because it was a charging Volcanoid, not a firing Volcanoid. Then for whatever reason, the Volcanoid got in my ways to freeze the creeper that I accidentally froze him instead. Yeah, the aura was over him, so it made me freeze the Volcanoid. I was so happy that I was able to get this on recording because I've always wanted to show this off. I've always wanted to tell my friends that you can actually freeze the Volcanoid. So hopefully you believe me now. So before we head off and try to get all the goodie cards, I want to show off the holo map a little bit. First off, you can zoom in, zoom out. I think you already knew that. Of course, this factory does nothing, of course. Now, there are 4 sections here. You have the Lyoko sectors, which are right here, the Digital Sea, the Replicas, and the supercomputers where we fought the bosses. If you want to get all the collectibles, you have to get through the Lyoko sectors and the Replicas. The way that you know that is if you go through one of these orbs right here, you will know how much you would collect in each sector by this little bar right here. Depending on how big the bar is, you can see how much percentage you have by completing that sector. You can see I got 40% on the forest. Sector 5, I got 37. Desert sector. The mountain replica, I already 100%ed it because right here is when we get to the the stealth program, and over here is when we first saw Friends Hopper. Now, unfortunately, the ice sector right here, with all the upgrades, you can actually already 100% it, yet I missed a couple, which is weird. But, I just want to go to the desert sector because, it's our first, this is where we first started. Why do I say that? Well, this one right here is Area 2 Epsilon, where we first took control of Odd for the first time, and also when we played as Ulrich to save everyone from the Volcano replica. Then there's this one where the beta, where we went to get the coordinates from the main tower, and then also played as Odd and Yumi to stop that Xena attack. This is going to sound a little confusing if you're not playing yourself. Depending where you get these goodies, I will let you know on screen when I do a speed up montage and let you know where you can get them. So if you are playing the game, I'll let you know which ones you can find depending on which section. But right now, I want to go to this section right here because this is where we all started. So let's virtualize. And I am going to skip the transfer animation, but just like before, what I said on the loading screen, you got this loading screen right here. You'll do that. You will get that every time you, You'll see that every time you virtualize in revisit mode, which is what we got right here. You are in revisit mode. You can gain more points, bonuses, and goodies in the levels that you already completed. You can exit a level at any time by accessing the menu and selecting Return to the Factory. So here we are. We're back at the old desert sector, our old stomping ground, and I want to show off something different, something new. I'm not one to expose a lot of cheats, but there is something I want to show off just as another little Easter egg. If you hold Z during the pause menu, I might add, hold Z, only in the Wii version, hold Z and type on your Wii remote 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. I think so. Hold on, let me try again. 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. There we go. And now if we exit back, we see that, oh my gosh, Ulrich has learned Super Sprint. Okay, no, not really. You can see that he is really, really fast. This affects every character. Look how fast they're going. It's amazing. Downside is it slows them down to regular speed if they jump, or for in terms of everyone except Ulrich when they're aiming. For Yumi, Aelita, and Nod, when they're doing their aiming thing, yeah, that doesn't work. But if you let go, they go super fast. Really, really, really great. Now, I would suggest using this in the after game, in revisit mode. I would not suggest it during the main story because I feel like it's kind of cheap. But yeah, look how fast we going. Now, I do want to show off a little bit of things going on here. So I don't really need to speed up now because look how fast I'm going. First off, I want to get this goodie card up here. Switch to Ulrich. And now you can always come back here. Now, oops. Wow. Swung too early. Way to go, Chris. I guess the speediness has rubbed off on me. I'm going way too fast. Heading over here. Now, for those of you who want to try to like speed run and try to jump over that, sorry, you can't do that. Because of the jump that slows you down, yeah, it's not going to let you. So if you're thinking of trying to do some tricks, not going to happen. Anyways, I want to break down this rock because there is something, ugh. I keep repeating it. There is something I do want to show off. So I will somewhat make a cut because of how fast I'm going, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, and then we can start the speed up montage. Also letting you know, this speedy cheat will only be used every time you turn on the game. So if you leave the game on, you can keep using that same cheat every time you virtualize to a new sector. Otherwise, it will reset once you reset the game or turn the game off, basically. And also to clarify, I am not going to show off any other cheats. So if you do end up using these cheats, use it in the after game. Don't use anything else. Don't expose it. I don't want to expose anything else. This was just a little fun Easter egg that I just want to show off for fun. So if you go up here, I mentioned this when we were in the Volcano replica on the finale episode. You see that tower is red over there. This is basically taking the place of when we first control Odd. So technically, it's showing that we're still in the beginning of the story, just without the cutscenes. If you were playing as Ulrich by himself, you would not see this. I've mentioned before that remembering this tower, because you might see some differences on that episode, this is what I was talking about. Because of that, when you play as Ulrich on that specific moment in the story, the tower will be white. So it's really a cool detail. It's showing that you already deactivated the tower. While here you see the tower that is red, meaning you're in the first part of the game. It's a really cool detail that not a lot of people know, and it's kind of cool. You never really know it. So I actually do like it. Now, if you excuse me, I think it's time we do the speed up montage. I know we waited long enough, but I say we do the speed up montage, and while we do that, I will show off the paintings on screen right now of the rejected monsters that weren't in the game. So while we're going and speeding things up and getting every goodie card that we can, I want to thank some people, because honestly, I couldn't have done this Let's Play without them. First, I want to thank the channel Toss and Thoss for the Fall of Xana footage used in this video. And I also want to give credit to Baku Blade 100 for the Code Lyoko DS footage as well. Next, I want to thank my good buddy Chase Beck for giving me the tools to do this channel. I always wanted to do a Let's Play channel like this, and he was really obliged to help me out. He gave me the capture device to do games, so honestly, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have gotten to do this series. Heck, I wouldn't have made this channel. So thanks so much to him, man. You're a really good friend, and I really thank you. Next, I want to give credit to Empire874 for the footage of the PlayStation version. I always wanted to show off the differences between the Wii and the PlayStation, because there are a lot of differences, and without him, I don't know how I was able to show him off, because I tried getting another kind of footage, but it was a 9-hour video, and Empires was the only one that had an episodic series of the PlayStation version, so shout out to you. I wouldn't be able to do it without you. And of course, a really big thanks again to Wishing T Call. Again, I really hope I'm saying your name right. Not only for showing off the alternate path, and actually right here with the Canker Lot where you freeze. Before, there was actually a platform there. I think I may have already mentioned it before, but yeah, not only she showed me that in episode 6, without her help in the footage, but for also, I don't know, saving the series in episode 9 part 1, I didn't know how I was able to try to go through that series, because I didn't want to do that again, because I wanted to have a first reaction to it. And I just felt like I didn't want to force it, and I just felt like with the method that I was doing in the beginning with Wishing T Call's footage, I felt like it was a lot better, and I don't know how any better it would have been. So again, thanks to you. This series probably wouldn't have been as good without you. So again, thank you. And finally, I want to thank my good friend Rich Wallace, aka Double R, for the designs of the thumbnail and the channel logo. I really appreciate his art, and I'm not just saying that because he's my friend. If you want art like this, I'll link you to his social media for if you're interested in getting arts for like your albums, or maybe even your channel logos. Like, he can do it all. Keep in mind, he does not do motion graphics. He only does stills. So just remember that. So this is it. The series has finally come to a close. And I gotta say, with everything that has happened, with all the recording failures, with just all the delays, knowing that I wish that I could have finished that somewhat at the end of July, and it's already at the end of August. This has been a really fun series. I'm not gonna deny that there are some problems, but it was really fun. You know, I really do like this game, and I will say, you know, it's not one of my favorite games. You know, I do think the game does have problems, you know, of how I have said before that it's kind of on the easy side. I've said it of kind of how linear it is, you know. I'll admit, I will say that sometimes the game kind of feels a little too much like a game and not like Lyoko, you know, like the save points and just the save points and just like all the gameplay elements, the goodie cards, you know. I've said that, you know, life points don't really mean that much in this game. You know, also the Dzeta firewalls, and you know, I still like it though. I'm not gonna say that it's horrible, because it's really not. I actually do like this. In fact, I said this, I like this better than any of the DS titles. But I know a lot of people have been saying, you know, why aren't you playing the popular games? Why aren't you, you know, playing Fortnite or Minecraft? And the reason I decided to do this Let's Play is because of the community. Like, for the Lyoko fans. Like, this community existed because of how great the show is. Like I'm sure, like, you ask any fan of the show that's worldwide. I mean, it's not as popular as, like, say, Pokemon, because that reaches more into more regions in the world, but I still stand by saying that everyone, like, it's everywhere. Be it from France, where the show was actually originally created. Be it in the US, where it first premiered on Cartoon Network. Heck, it's been all a lot of other places like China, Japan, heck, probably in some traces of Manila, like maybe South America. Like, it's everywhere. This community is what makes this franchise so great, because it's not just the community. Like, we loved everything about the show, like the animation and the characters and just how good of a camaraderie they are, and you know how a lot of the time when they're in the school, you know, of how realistic life is. And like I said, the animation is great. It is a mixture of 2D drawing animation and CG animation in one. In fact, it's in every episode. The only thing I remember hearing something like that was the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour from Fairly Odd Parents, when they did that crossover with Jimmy Neutron. They only did that 3 times, yet this show did it on every episode. There was a total of 97 episodes because there was like a prequel series. It was like Xana Awakens Part 1 and Part 2. But anyways, the voice talent is great too because, believe it or not, the voice cast is, even though they're English, you know, they speak English, and they're actually not from America. They're actually from France, who speak French, but they also speak English as well. And it's also appealing of how down to earth the characters are. You know, they kind of have a realistic vibe with each other, and just how, you know, just the camaraderie with each other and how helpful they are. And this especially appealed to me because when I first saw Code Lyoko for the first time, I was going through some really stressful stuff, and I don't want to go too much into detail because, you know, I don't want to go too much into my personal life, and I'm pretty sure not a lot of people want to know about it, and I'm sure not a lot of people care. There I go, stumbling my words again. But, you know, I've had some, you know, complications, you know, with my parents. I got bullied a lot at school. I was forced to be moved to a new home away from my parents. They said I kind of was a handful, and you know what? I agree. I remember, you know, of how really crazy I was. And, you know, I'm not like, oh, put me in a straitjacket and haul me away. Not that kind of crazy, but I'll admit, I agree with what they said now that I look back on it. But Code Lyoko came at a really, really great time for me. Just because I had no one to help me out. I had no friends. It was hard to make new ones, and I didn't know how to survive school while, you know, trying to make new friends. And I was just alone in a new world, and, you know, so to speak. And Code Lyoko just came around at a good time for me because the characters gave me an inspiration to keep going. Heck, especially Odd. You know, I used to have the personality like Odd, and I just always was very outgoing. You know, we both like to eat, we both like music, but, you know, I had to kind of keep myself hidden because of just, I was worried about how people would think of me. And, you know, people would always call me the nerd, you know, because I kind of look like Jeremy, but I loved having that kind of personality, but I was always made fun for it, that I had to kind of like be held back, I guess. And this show gave me an inspiration to be myself more, and just know that if you just love yourself the way you are, you will have friends like these characters be there for you. Because, you know, the Odd's friends make fun of him, but they still like him. They're still good friends. And with that, I just really appreciate the show and the characters and how realistic they are. And because of that, I owe my life to it. You know, it helped me change as a person. And, you know, I know it's crazy to have something like a TV show change your life, but I'm not going to back down from that. This really shaped me as a person. You know, when people are going through tough times, you know, you don't know what they're going to do. And it was around high school that it premiered. It was like the end of 8th grade, I think. And it like lasted through like my whole trek of high school. And I was just really just turned around and just didn't know what to do. And just because of this community, I actually found some friends who actually liked the show, and we still talk to each other to this day. And I don't know what I would be doing if this show didn't come around. I probably would be doing bad things. I'm scared to figure out what would have happened if this if this didn't come around, because I feel like this changed my life. And I've said that, TV show, that's impossible. And even if it is possible that could change your life, it doesn't, there could be other TV shows that give different experiences to other people, so, and I'm not gonna back down from that. I'm not gonna remark from that, because it could be a different show for any kind of person that made a change in their life. For me, it was this one. This one just, I really just give my life to this show, and just give the shout out to the creators of the show. Give the shout out to the voice cast, French or English. Just everything about this franchise has changed me so much, and this is why I am a Lyoko fan through and through. Sorry. Memories coming back, and just this show just really gave me inspiration to just keep going with my life, and just love life. Even though it was really hard for me to love life at the time, it was still amazing how really great and unique this show is. I'm gonna say it right now. I think I may have already said it, but this show saved me. It saved me. Like, I'm literally afraid of what would have happened to me, because I was ready to throw in the towel, to be honest, because of just how stressful high school was. And I felt like I related to the characters a lot more, just because we were in high school, and I just felt like they reflected my life a little bit, except with supercomputers and virtual monsters. And I gotta say, the characters changed me as well. Odd is one of my favorite characters to this day, and still is. There's even don't mean to go off into too much of a tangent, but there's one episode that I recently watched, and Odd was going through, something stressful, and it reminded me of something that I was going through recently. And it's kind of funny that I'm still finding similarities with Odd to this day. That shows how life-changing this show changed me. Like, how life-changing this show is to me. And I also relate to Jeremy too, because I was a nerdy guy with glasses. I mean, I kind of still am, but what kind of pretty girl would want to go out with a nerd? And seeing I lead it with Jeremy gave me hope of finding love one day, because it shows that beauty is out there somewhere. Someone out there will love you for you. And then, of course, Ulrich has had problems with his parents, especially his dad. And, I've kind of had the same problem as well. Me and my dad, we never really got along. I mean, now we're closer than ever, but back then, we didn't really see each other eye to eye. We had different ways of looking at life. And just when I saw Ulrich and what he was going through, I felt that same pain as well. Anyways, we're about to get the last of the goodie cards. I'll see you guys back at Jeremy's room. And with that done, we've gotten every goodie card in the entire game. If we want to know what it looks like, this is it. This is some concept art. I don't want to stall on it too far, but I think it's a good look. I know this video's gone long enough, but I want to go a little bit. In fact, actually, this one's my favorite. I'll admit it. This is a really cool concept art. What they look like in the real world. I like it. And this is more of the concept art. And, of course, we got this right here, but I feel like it's not worth it to go in, because it's, screenshots from the original show, and I don't want to get copyrighted. However, there is one thing I didn't get to show off. This will only be available unlocked until you get, if I had to guess, most of the goodie cards. I say this because I found out I could unlock this right before we went to our final battle. I don't know the percentage of unlocking this, but I feel like if you get most of the goodie cards in the main story, I think it's fine. But you're probably wondering what this is. Well, I'll leave you to it. But before I do, I just want to say thank you. This ride couldn't have done it without you guys. I've been getting really good supporters of this Let's Play, and this is one of my favorite franchises. While the game, like I said, might have had some problems, I'm glad I got to do this. After this, I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break, but pretty soon I'll be back. Like I said, I don't want to do any more Code Lyoko games, but you're probably wondering what my next Let's Play will be. This journey has already been really crazy enough with all the recording failures and all that. But let's just say it's going to be a new kind of crazy. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.
We're a new generation, surfing on the web all night and day. Always a celebration, 'cause when I'm online, it's time to play. We can travel around the world, share another family's daily life. For this world is no longer around, in every corner I find friends of mine, such good friends. Till the end, we're going live. We're surfing to these vibes. One brave new world to be uncoiled. Are you there? I've got a message to send. Are you there? I wanna find a brand new friend. Simple connection and my computer helps me travel far. So much information with my webcam, I see who you are. We represent the youth of today, making the most of modern technology. We are united in every way. We will change the course of history. Such good friends till the end. We're going live. We're surfing to these vibes. One brave new world to be uncoiled. Are you there? I've got a message to send. Are you there? I wanna find a friend, and we're going live. We're surfing to these vibes. One brave new world to be uncoiled. Are you there? I've got a message to send. Are you there? I wanna find a brand new friend.
William, ever since we brought you back, you kind of been quiet. You'd think you would say something after we saved your life. You're welcome.